Hi, welcome back to Level 3. Today is April 27th and it's beautiful outside. I really hope that you are able to go outside and play with your children a little bit in your yard or go for a walk. That's what I like to do. In my neighborhood, I'd like to just go for a walk and wave at my neighbors and holler hello from a distance. It's just nice to see people, and it's nice to see the beautiful trees and the beautiful flowers that are popping up at this time of year. I'm so glad that it's getting warm and sunny outside. So the last time we had our lesson, I asked you to finish some workbook lessons and also to try some extra exercises in the back of your book. Again, these pages are just gray and white or black and white. And you see at the top, college and career readiness. So this is just a little bit more advanced, maybe, than what you are getting in the lessons. It makes you think a little bit more. It helps you to process how things are written. It checks to see how you are understanding things. And it makes you work a little bit more to improve your English. So I hope that you were able to take advantage of doing this homework. This one was for our last unit, Unit 8, and it was starting actually on page 157. How I got my job. And I know that not all of you are interested in working outside of your home, and that's absolutely fine. But it's still a good exercise for you to do the reading and answer the questions just to practice your English and see how you do. It helps to think, to reflect on the questions and try to answer them in English, of course. All right. So I would like to just go over some of these answers with you. If you have not done this exercise, I'm guessing it might take about 10 minutes to go through some of these answers, and you can skip ahead in this video if you don't want this part, or you can push that little pause button at the bottom and do the exercises and then come back and listen as I give you some answers, okay? But benefit from this. This is a good exercise for you. All right. So let's first read. Maybe I will read this for you, and then we'll answer the questions, okay? All right, how I got my job. It says at the top, there's a reading tip. Look at the title, then read the first sentence in each paragraph. What are the 3 key points? Read to find out more than about each of those 3 points. So if we read the first sentence in each paragraph, what do we read? The first sentence says, the interview, and remember the title is How I Got My Job, So the first sentence is, the interview is the most critical step in getting a job and the most difficult. Here are some interview tips from people who have succeeded in their job search. All right, now there are 3 names. 3 different people have written some ideas on this. So let's read the first sentence of each paragraph to see what they will be talking about. First, Grace Huang, who is a sales assistant, she wrote, I think it's really important to make a good first impression. Make a good first impression. What do you think that might mean? Maybe you don't know this word impression in English, but as you continue to read this paragraph, you can get an idea. Thomas Martinez, a computer technician, started his paragraph by saying, you need to prepare before you go to an interview. Okay. And the last one, Sita Pillai, an office manager, said, I think the most important factor is the way you speak. All right. Now, were you able to determine the 3 key points in this reading? All right. The beginning of each paragraph is very important as you try to understand what you are reading. All right. Now, I believe you probably read this yourself. I hope you did out loud. I don't want to take the time right now to read all of it for you, but I wanted to read that part of the exercise. Okay, now let's turn the page to page 158 and go through some of these questions together, okay? Now it says, first of all, in exercise 1, check your understanding. What is the main idea of the article? Well, the title gives you a really good idea. And as you read those first three sentences of the paragraphs, we could say that the main idea of the article is that there are several things that you can do to have a successful job interview. All right. Number 2, what did Grace Huang do that made her stand out as an applicant? Now, to stand out as an applicant means that of all the applicants, the future employer is seeing yours in a very special way. Okay? All right, so what did she do? She sent a thank you letter after the interview. Now, this is not something that is required. It's an extra special step of being polite and showing interest in the job. And so that made her stand out among all the other applications. Number 3, according to Sita Pillai, why is it important to explain your answers at an interview rather than answer with just yes or no? Why is it important to explain your answers at an interview rather than just yes or no? Okay? Well, because It will help the interviewer know your strengths. The more information that you can provide, the more helpful it is for the interviewer to make a judgment as to your qualification for that job. And it's just very helpful for them. Number 4, what does Thomas Martinez do before an interview to show the interviewer that he's interested in the job? Do you remember his first sentence? He said he does preparation. What kind of preparation? Well, if you read the paragraph, he does research about the company, and he prepares questions to ask the interviewer. These, again, show that he really is interested in the company where he is applying for a job. Number 5, in the 4th paragraph, what word does the author use that means the same as positive qualities? In that paragraph, the word that means the same as positive qualities is the word strength. Okay, what are your strengths? What are the good things, the good capabilities or qualities or skills that you have that you will bring to this job if you are hired? Okay? And this is a very important thing, especially for certain jobs. All right, now number 2, exercise A. This is a build your vocabulary exercise. It says find the words in column 1 in the paragraphs indicated, underline them, and identify the part of speech. Many words have more than one definition. Look up the words in a dictionary and complete the chart with the definition that best fits the article. Now, if you look in your book, I don't know if you have ever encountered this, but after the vocabulary word, you see a little symbol like this. Do you see that? There's that one. Okay, I'll get it a little bit closer maybe so that you can see. All right, so that little symbol after the word right here, this is a symbol for a paragraph. Okay? So as you're writing, sometimes when I was in university, I used this symbol. It looks something like a P. I suppose maybe I made mine backwards, but this is an indication of a paragraph, okay? This is a paragraph symbol. And so the word interview in paragraph number 1 of the reading is a noun. And if you looked up the sentence that helped you to understand that it's a noun, what is an interview? I think probably you all know. It's a formal meeting in which a person who is interested in a job is asked questions, okay? I don't know if all of you have been interviewed before for a job. Maybe some of you were interviewed before you came to this country to see if they would give you the privilege to come into this country. All right? Basically, an interview is a conversation, but the boss who wants to hire someone does most of the asking of questions. Number 2, impression in paragraph 2. Impression. What does this word mean? Is this a noun or a verb? If you went back to paragraph 2, you see that it is a noun. Now, what is an impression? What is an impression? An impression is an idea or an opinion of what someone or something is like. Maybe you try a new food for the first time. What is your impression? Is it delicious? Is it sweet? Is it surprising? Okay, what is your opinion, or how do you feel when you first taste that new food? Okay, all right, what is your opinion? So, the next word is positive, paragraph 2. Positive is an adjective, and generally it means something that is positive or hopeful. Okay, you can have a positive attitude. That means you're pretty happy, pretty optimistic. Okay. How about number 4? Experience. Experience. What is your experience in working or in coming to this country? All right, this is a noun, and it describes the knowledge or skill that is obtained from doing, seeing, or feeling things. Now, obviously, you don't have to have exactly the same definitions that I have, but as you look at the use of these words in the reading, you should have the correct grammar. You should know that it's a noun or a verb or an adjective. And you should have a similar idea for the meaning, even if it's different than what I have. All right, number 5, enthusiastic. Enthusiastic. This is a big word in English, but it's a fun word. Enthusiastic. Okay, this is an adjective, and it's a feeling of energetic interest in a particular subject or activity, and an eagerness to be involved. All right, so maybe you have a project for your children to pick up trash outside around your house. And you encourage them, you tell them what a wonderful difference that will make in the way that your home looks, and it will be so beautiful. The neighbors will really envy you and really appreciate what you've done. Maybe you get them all excited to go out and do that project. They are enthusiastic. Yes, Mama, let's go do that. Okay? Enthusiastic. All right, the next one, number 6, is native. Now this is being used in the reading. If you looked it up in paragraph 4, it's being used as an adjective, and it means of or relating to the place where you were born. Okay, I remember when I lived in Africa, there was a particular kind of fruit that grew on trees, and that fruit was difficult to find in other parts of the world. It doesn't really exist in America. That fruit is native to that region of Africa where I was living. Okay, so it's related to the place where you came from or where you were born. All right, so exercise 2B says find each of the following academic words in the article and underline the sentence. So these are the words they asked you to look for: assistant, factor, indicates, and research. All right, assistant was in paragraph 2. It was used by Grace Wong, and it's a noun, and it's used in the sense in our reading of a person who helps another at work. Now, you might have a slightly different answer. It's okay as long as you have approximately the same meaning. Okay? And they're asking you to write a sentence now, trying to use that word in your own sentence. Okay? All right, number 2, factor. This is in paragraph 4. The most important factor is the way you speak. This is a noun. It's a fact or situation that influences a result. Okay? A fact or situation that influences a result. So a factor plays a role in what will happen. Okay? Number 3, indicates, is in paragraph 3. It indicates that you're really interested. So indicates is a verb. It ends with an S here. It's a present tense verb. It means to show or signal. To show or signal that you are really interested. It's like when you drive a car, there's a turn indicator that you click on to tell someone riding behind you or driving behind you that you want to turn left or right. Turn indicator. Okay, it's expressing which way you want to go. Number 4, research. I always try to research something. This is in paragraph 3. This is a verb. It means to discover information or achieve a new understanding of it. Okay, so you're trying to get information about something. You do research. You can do this on the internet. You can do it in a library. You can do it through interviews, asking other people questions, in many ways. All right, let's go on to exercise 3. Now, even though you cannot talk with a partner, as it says, you can pretend like you're talking with a partner and write answers in your notebook, okay? Don't just skip over things, but try to adapt it to your situation. So, it says answer each question with evidence from the reading. Use one of the phrases in the useful language box, which is the small gray box in the corner. All right? Now, in that box, it says phrases to cite evidence. Some examples from the article are, or a few examples from the article are. So you can use these kinds of beginnings of your sentences to show evidence, to give some proof of what you're saying in your answer. So number 1 says, what are 2 ways to make a good impression? At an interview, you could possibly have written something like, some examples from the article are to be on time. Greet the interviewer with a firm handshake and a smile, shake hands, and thank the interviewer. Also, send a thank you letter after the interview. All right. Number 2, what are 2 ways to prepare for an interview? A few examples from the article are to research the company, prepare questions for the interviewer, practice with a friend, and fill out job applications for practice. Number 3, what are 3 things you can do about the way you speak during an interview? Again, some examples from the article are to be enthusiastic, be positive, and speak with confidence. Also, explain your answers, answer with more than just a yes or no, and speak slowly. All right. Moving on to the next page. Exercise 4 says, review the following texts to answer the questions below. Now, you're doing an analysis of the text. You're trying to not just think about the text, but you're trying to look and observe and see what's there, okay? Now, it says, number 1, what is the topic shared by the 2 articles? That is How I Got My Job and Eden's blog on page 102. If you went back and looked at that, you can compare these 2 articles. What is the topic shared by the 2 articles? What is the commonality? What do they have in common? So the topic shared by the 2 articles is how to have a successful job search and interview. Number 2, both articles say it is important to practice before an interview. Describe one way to practice from each article. Okay. Now, the article Eden's blog suggests one way to practice is with classmates. The article How I Got My Job suggests a way to practice is with a friend. Okay, it doesn't really matter. You can practice with your husband or even with an older child if you want. All right. Number 3, both articles describe how to make a good first impression. So we make an impression on other people. When other people see us, they formulate an opinion about us, and that's called an impression. All right? So, what's one strategy from each article to make a good impression on someone? Eden's blog says one way to make a good first impression is to smile and give a firm handshake. How I Got My Job says a way to make a good first impression is to arrive early, give a firm handshake at the beginning and end of the interview, smile, and send a thank you letter after the interview. Okay. Number 4, both articles discuss how to prepare for the interview. What did each article say about that? Eden's blog says a way to prepare for the interview is to practice. How I Got My Job says a way to prepare is to research information about the company and prepare questions to ask the interviewer. All right, and lastly, number 5, in your opinion, which of the 3 interview tips is the most important? Explain your reason for choosing it. Now, this question, number 5, is your opinion. So I'm sure whatever you wrote is very good. It's your opinion. So I won't discuss an answer that is more correct than other answers. Okay? Exercise 5 gives you a writing exercise, okay? Before you write, copy and complete the graphic organizer on another piece of paper. Fill it in with number 1, the topic shared by the articles, and number 2, 2 examples for each key point. Use information from exercises 1 to 4 and evidence from the 2 articles. Finally, number 3, use your answer to question 5 in exercise 4 to fill in a conclusion. All right, again, this is for your practice. If you want to write something and take a picture and send it to me, I will be happy to see your work. All right. Number 6 is a writing exercise as well. Number 7, after you write, it's just a checklist to see how you did in following some instructions. Okay? All right, so let's go back to Unit 9. And again, I asked you to do your workbook exercises for Lesson A and Lesson B. I hope that you did that. And we also started Lesson C. Perhaps you finished those workbook exercises as well for Lesson C. I want to pick up our lesson in Lesson C. We only got through 1 page the last time. We're talking about past continuous and simple past. And you will recall that we are talking about the words when and while. We're talking about the past continuous tense and the simple past tense. So 2 actions, 2 things that were going on. One was happening in a continuous fashion, and one of the actions interrupted the first action. Okay? Now, you worked on page 114, I believe, and I think we went over some of those answers together. Did we? If we did not, please use your QR codes, because it says at the end, listen and check your answers. All right? So we have some pretty nice books for home study. So I'm really happy that you have access to these. All right, so I want to pick up this lesson on page 115, the next page. And you will remember that when is followed by the simple past action. While is a word that describes a continuous action. Okay, while plus continuous action, and when plus simple past action. All right. Now, on page 115, they give you an example in the blue box. You see 2 pictures here at the beginning. These are 2 things that happened at the same time. The first picture, in the first picture, the woman is working. In the second picture, we see a tree in her lap. Okay? So, look at this. What happened? While the woman was working, a tree fell on her house. Now, don't forget that all-important comma in the middle. Okay. While she was working, comma, a tree fell on her house. Okay, all right. So, if I wanted to change this sentence, what could I say? I could say, a tree fell on the woman's house while she was working, period. So I can flip the order, and when the word while comes in the middle of the sentence, I don't need the comma. All right? Now, if I wanted to use when in this sentence, what would I say? When a tree fell on the woman's house, comma, because when is at the beginning, she was working, period. Again, I will repeat. When a tree fell on the woman's house, comma, she was working, period. All right? Or if I want the when in the middle of the sentence, I would say, the woman was working when a tree fell on her house. The woman, or she, was working when a tree fell on her house. Okay? So this is flexibility in the English language. There are sometimes many ways to say a sentence, and it means the same thing. In this case, there are 4 ways to say the same sentence, okay? So what would we say for the next 2 pictures? Okay, write it down if you want to, but if you write it, you have to push the pause button because I'm going to tell you now the answer. While they were driving, they ran out of gas. Or, they ran out of gas while they were driving. Or when they ran out of gas, comma, they were driving. Or they ran out of gas while they were driving. Okay, I think I thought of all 4 possibilities there. It's a little tricky when I'm not reading them. All right, so how did you do for the next couple? Let's look at those. While they were eating, they got a parking ticket. They got a parking ticket while they were eating. Or when they got a parking ticket, comma, they were eating. Or, now I can't remember the first three that I said, but you know. All right, here we go. Last two. The man was cooking dinner when the lights went out. When the lights went out, the man was cooking dinner. All right. The lights went out while the man was cooking dinner. While the man was cooking dinner, the lights went out. Put the comma in the middle. Okay? So, it says down here in exercise 3, describe a situation that happened to you. Think of a time when two things happened at the same time. One was an ongoing action. It's what you were doing at the time. And then what interrupted that first action, okay? All right? Now, I think I'm almost out of time, but I want to look over, if you have not done the workbook for exercise C, please do that. Let's just take a quick look at exercise D, the reading exercise. All right, first of all, let's look at the picture in your book on page 116. Take a good look at that picture. Who are the people in the picture? What do you think is happening? How do they probably feel? Okay. Could you describe those things, the answers? Can you tell me in English, in good English sentences, can you tell me answers? All right, now, part 2, read the newspaper article, listen, and read again. Now, I hope that each week, sometime during the week, you are able to read an article in an English newspaper or in a magazine. All right? This will help you with your English. Even if you do not understand every word, just try to read through the article and understand as much as you can. And then if there are a few new words that seem really important that you want to understand, go ahead and look those up after you look at the context, that is the sentences around that word that maybe can help you understand that word without looking it up in a dictionary. But try to develop your vocabulary. Try to learn new words. Try to understand things that you are reading. Okay? Now, I won't take the time right now to read this with you. You have the QR code. Listen to it. Practice reading it out loud. Read it again. Let the QR code correct your pronunciation. All right? And then it says down at the bottom with the little red book, time phrases show changes in time. For instance, a few months ago, several days later, that evening. Go through the article and underline where you find indicators or indications of time. This will help you understand the story better. Okay? And then number 3 on the next page, check your understanding. See if you can answer the questions in your notebook, and then look at the questions and just see what you can do with that. All right. At the bottom, it says, for college and career readiness practice, please see pages 160 through 162. So again, they're recommending 3 pages for you to work on in the back of the book. All right, and look at the green at the bottom. It says determine the main idea and key details in a newspaper article about an emergency. Select the best definitions of words based on the content of the article. So an emergency is something unexpected, maybe something dangerous, something that requires quick attention. Okay, if someone has a heart attack, you need to quickly call 911 so that someone can come and help that person. That would be an example of an emergency. Okay, all right, I'm going to leave you then with lesson D and with those 3 pages in the back of the book. Please work on this, and I will send you another lesson shortly in a couple of days. Okay? Thank you and have a great time. Enjoy that weather. All right. Bye-bye.